When news broke that Russia had dramatically ramped up production of its Iskander-M tactical ballistic missiles, military analysts across the globe took notice. This was no ordinary modernization effort. It was a calculated signal. Moscow is clearly preparing for the next, possibly more dangerous stage of the Ukraine conflict. The Iskander-M has always been one of Russia's most formidable weapons, but the decision to mass-produce it now raises critical questions about what's coming next. In recent months, Russian weapons factories have shifted into round-the-clock, 24/7 operations, a wartime tempo not seen since the height of the Cold War. This industrial mobilization is aimed at meeting the growing demands of a battlefield where precision strikes can determine the outcome of an entire campaign. For Russia, the Iskander-M offers a unique combination of speed, maneuverability, and destructive capability, attributes that can overwhelm even the most advanced air defense systems in the world. The Iskander-M is no ordinary ballistic missile. With a range of roughly 500 kilometers, it can deliver both conventional and nuclear payloads. Its flight path is unpredictable, its speed is blistering, and its warhead can strike with an accuracy of just a few meters. For Ukraine, this means that critical infrastructure, from military command centers to ammunition depots, can be destroyed in minutes. For NATO, it's a reminder that their eastern flank is within striking distance if tensions ever escalate beyond the current conflict. From Washington to Brussels, alarm bells are ringing. U.S. intelligence officials have been closely monitoring Russia's missile production surge, aware that such a stockpile could tip the military balance in Eastern Europe. NATO planners, too, must account for the fact that a sudden wave of coordinated Iskander-M launches could cripple key defensive positions before reinforcements even arrive. The technology behind these missiles, including advanced decoys and evasive maneuvers, makes them exceptionally difficult to intercept. This forces Ukraine, and by extension NATO, to rethink how they prepare for potential saturation strikes. This is as much about psychological warfare as it is about military capability. The very knowledge that dozens of Iskander-M missiles could be launched simultaneously acts as a deterrent, not only to Ukraine, but to NATO allies contemplating deeper involvement. For Ukraine, the challenge is enormous. Even with advanced Western-supplied air defenses like the Patriot and NASAMS, intercepting an Iskander-M is far from guaranteed. The missile's ability to change trajectory mid-flight, combined with its short flight time, gives defenders mere seconds to respond. If Russia were to unleash a large-scale Iskander strike on critical infrastructure, the impact could be devastating. Not just militarily, but economically and politically. The geopolitical consequences of Russia's missile surge extend far beyond the Ukrainian front lines. For the United States, this escalation is a test of its strategic posture in Europe. Can Washington deter Moscow without committing NATO forces directly to the conflict? For NATO, the challenge is balancing deterrence with avoiding direct war. The Iskander-M, in this sense, is more than a weapon, it's a bargaining chip in a high-stakes game of military brinkmanship. This brings us to the key questions. Is Russia preparing a massive strike that could force NATO into direct confrontation? Does this missile surge mean the US must overhaul its European defense strategy? Can Ukraine withstand a coordinated barrage of Iskanders? And most importantly, is this the first real sign that the Ukraine war could spiral into a global conflict? One thing is certain, the Iskander-M has already changed the calculus of the war. And with Russia now producing more of them than ever before, the stakes have just been raised. The next moves, both in Moscow and in Western capitals, will determine not only the course of the Ukraine conflict, but potentially the security architecture of Europe for decades to come. Could Russia's missile surge overwhelm NATO's forward defenses in Eastern Europe? While NATO possesses advanced missile defense systems like the Patriot, PAC-3, and Aegis Ashore, the sheer volume of a potential Russian missile barrage poses a serious challenge. The Iskander-M is designed to fly at hypersonic speeds and execute unpredictable maneuvers, making interception far from guaranteed. If Russia were to launch dozens of these missiles simultaneously, even NATO's layered defense could be saturated, allowing some warheads to slip through. This is especially concerning for forward-deployed NATO bases in Poland, Romania, and the Baltic states, where critical command and logistics hubs could be disabled before reinforcements arrive. Such a scenario would not only weaken NATO's immediate response capability, but also send a psychological shockwave across the alliance. Is Russia trying to outlast the West's willingness to support Ukraine militarily? There's a growing belief among defense analysts that Moscow's missile production surge isn't just about battlefield dominance, it's also a war of endurance. By sustaining high-intensity strikes using weapons like the Iskander-M, Russia can keep Ukraine in a constant state of defense, forcing Kyiv to burn through its missile interceptors and ammunition stockpiles at an unsustainable rate. The longer this continues, the more strain it places on Western defense industries to resupply Ukraine. If NATO countries begin to face domestic pressure over rising costs and depleted arsenals, political willingness to keep funding Ukraine's defense could falter. This would give Russia a significant strategic advantage without ever needing to defeat NATO in a direct fight.
Could the Iskander-M be used as a strategic warning to deter NATO's deeper involvement?
Absolutely. The deployment of Iskander-M systems in Kaliningrad, Crimea, and along Russia's western border is already a form of geopolitical signaling. The message is clear. Moscow has the capability to strike high-value NATO targets within minutes if it feels threatened. This deterrence works both on the battlefield and in the political arena. NATO leaders must weigh the risk of escalation every time they consider sending more advanced weaponry to Ukraine or increasing their military presence near Russian territory. The mere knowledge that Iskander-M launchers are within striking distance forces NATO to factor in the potential consequences of crossing Moscow's red lines. Could Ukraine's survival hinge on Western missile defense resupply? Ukraine's ability to defend its skies is heavily dependent on Western-supplied air defense systems, from the German Iris-T to American Patriot batteries. However, these systems rely on interceptor missiles that are expensive and slow to manufacture. The Iskander-M's agility and short flight time mean Ukraine must fire multiple interceptors at a single target to ensure a kill, rapidly depleting its stockpile. If Western nations cannot replenish these interceptors fast enough, Ukraine could face critical gaps in its air defense coverage. This would allow Russian missiles to hit key power plants, bridges, and military depots, infrastructure essential for sustaining the war effort. Is this missile buildup a prelude to a broader confrontation between Russia and the West? The scale and pace of Russia's Iskander-M production point to more than just the needs of the current Ukraine war. It suggests a long-term strategic posture aimed at confronting NATO. If the alliance pushes too far eastward, if Moscow believes that NATO expansion or direct intervention in Ukraine is inevitable, it may be stockpiling these missiles as part of a larger war plan. This possibility is why the United States and its allies are watching closely, because a sudden escalation could trigger Article 5 commitments, potentially transforming a regional war into a continent-wide or even global conflict.